All right, we've been following this, and now we can report to you that the U.S. Embassy in Syria is now being closed. The diplomats there, including the ambassador Robert Ford, have now been taken by convoy, we're being told, to Jordan. The horrific violence that has played out on the streets of homes in Syria over the weekend. The papers were littered with pictures of bodies and services being held for those people who've been killed. This has been a crackdown by Bashar al-Assad that has continued to intensify in recent days, and the UN unable to take any significant action against it without the help that it needed from Russia and China. So we're going to have more for you coming up on that momentarily. All right, we have breaking news that we're covering in America's Newsroom this morning. The U.S. Embassy in Syria, in Damascus, has been closed. We're continuing to get word, and we are learning that the diplomats there and their families have all been departed in a convoy, crossing the border and going into Jordan. This comes after a week, really, of horrific violence that has happened in the streets of homes, as we have seen citizens of Syria and of those two cities blasted by the leadership and by the military that has supported Bashar al-Assad there. And it has been a deteriorating situation that Steve Santani has kept an eye on closely as well throughout. Big development this morning, Steve.
Yes, we're hearing that, of course, the ambassador has left Syria, Damascus, Syria, on his way back to the United States. The embassy is shuttered there. The U.S. State Department saying they're no longer in control of the security situation there and can't be assured of the security of their staff and their personnel in Damascus. And so the U.S. embassy has been closed. Now, the president has not commented directly on the closing of the embassy, but he did have an interview with NBC and commented on the situation in Syria this morning. And he said it's very important to try to resolve this without recourse to outside military intervention, but he did not rule out some kind of military intervention. And he said it is time to send the message to President Assad. It is time for him to go. This is nothing new. The U.S. State Department has been saying this. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton over the weekend had some very strong language when Russia and China vetoed a United Nations resolution that would have cracked down on Syria. And we don't expect the president to address this directly today. He has only closed meetings, although that could change. And we do have a White House briefing with Jay Carney at 12:30, at which, of course, this situation in Syria, rapidly deteriorating, is bound to predominate. Back to you.
Steve, no doubt there will be questions asked of Jay Carney at that press briefing today, and we will expect that we will probably hear something from Hillary Clinton on this, as they have decided to close down, just for those who might be tuning in, the Damascus U.S. Embassy in Syria. Just incredible violence that has deteriorated this situation on the ground there so dramatically in recent days. Steve, thank you very much. We're going to continue to stay on top of this. Breaking news this morning in America's Newsroom.
And, of course, Russia and China vetoed the UN resolution calling for the ouster of Bashar al-Assad. So it's going nowhere here in Manhattan in that respect.